Alright, welcome to Doozer shop. It's a beautiful day outside. I'm concentrating a little bit of work on the 53 International. Let me open the hood and show you what we have. Alright, I got the hood open. Let's take a look. Well, as you can see, got the head off. And I know it's in the shade a little bit, but the reason I got the head off is it dropped a valve. I kind of suspected pretty strongly it dropped a valve, and sure enough, an exhaust valve is gone on the head on cylinder number 5. So you can see that. See how that piston is peckered on top from the valve, you know, hitting it. It didn't really destroy the piston, but it's, I bet you the top ring land is pinched and the top ring is not sealing. I think I look closely at all of them, and there's 2 others were peckered up pretty good, and I think some of these ate a valve. 2 others ate a valve before, and if I can show this on camera, maybe you can even hear it. These are pretty loose, folks. Yeah, I'm wiggling the piston. 80,000 miles and 4-to-1 rear end gears, and this thing was burning a little bit of oil. Probably maybe from the valve guides, maybe from the whole thing, I don't know. But I could replace the valve and run it, but it's still really a worn out engine. Incredibly worn out engine. So I found another engine and brought it home yesterday, and I got it up at the shop. Let me take you up there. I'll give you a look at it. Alright, in case any of you people doubted, there is the video shot of the head, cylinder number 5, of course, and the valve head is missing. Now the stem is still in there, but yeah, it's no bueno, folks. The rest of them don't look horribly bad. At least both valves are still in the chamber. But anyhow, yeah. So I got my little rack outside. I got the carburetor and manifold underneath it. And actually off my replacement engine, I got a manifold and underneath on the second shelf there that I took off and cleaned up a little. So let me take you, no, I'm gonna leave you rolling here. Took the big bad old generator off. I don't know if it was working, but it was pretty crusty. Clutch. This is off the replacement engine, mind you. This is not out of my truck. Man, look at that clutch. That thing is worn right down to absolute slap nothing. Just asbestos string is all that's left. Water pump, don't know if it's any good. Might be, doubtful. And my oil pan, and I cleaned the oil pan. It's full of sludge, a lot of sludge. Water had gotten in this engine. I don't think it hurt it, but it didn't do it any good. Yes, water got in this engine. I'm cleaning stuff up. Well, there she is. Quite the mess. Kind of show you the head I got hanging on the hook over there. Well, let me kind of show. All right. Now this is a tilted valve head. If you notice on the other head, the valves were straight up and down. This head, I don't know, what is that, 10, 15 degrees? Yeah, this is a tilted valve head. And if you noticed, the engine in the truck had flat top pistons. This engine has dome pistons, I guess you'd... Yeah, man, it's got high compression. And when I say high compression here, we're probably talking about less than 8, excuse me, 8 to 1. The flat tops are 6 to 1. Anyhow, I'm back up here. Well, you know what? That's horrible because the light is the wrong way. Anyhow, got the engine on the stand. I pulled the pan because the water had come out of it. And I pulled the head because there was water in the intake. This engine was seized when I got it. Yeah, I took the water pump off, as you've seen. It had a 1.25 inch nut on the harmonic balancer. And I worked it back and forth, and I got the engine free. And actually it spins over like a dream now. Might have been, let me see, cylinder number 1. I don't know if you can see that. You know, it had some rust in it, but just, you can kind of see. That was the worst one, but you know, I mean, that'll all come out with Scotch-Brite, whatever. I think I just, so that's the oil filter. I gotta take that off. Starter. I never loaded this thing on the stand. Kind of show you. I don't think that flywheel plate is strong enough to bear the weight of this engine hanging off. I think it would crack it because I don't know how well you can see this on photo here, video, but it's not that thick and it's cast iron, so I didn't want to ever put a load on it. I just not ready to take that chance. So I got a big heavy wall pipe, and I'm just holding it on the front here. That's the engine mount. Is kind of a bracket around the pulley. That's just kind of what it is. But anyhow, just wanted to show you guys where I'm at with this thing. Those two oval ports are the water jacket. This thing is full of rust. Like nobody ran antifreeze in the cooling system rust. So I think what I'm going to do is this. There's 4 bolts that normally hold a water pump on. I think I'm going to make a block-off plate and silicone sealer a plate just as a dummy plate to seal it up. Then your water passages in the block are like here, there, that's oil for the rocker arms. I'm going to fill this thing up with either evaporust or phosphoric acid. I haven't decided which yet. And the oil filter just unbolts. And yeah, you can't see because it's in the shadow, but whatever. I might strip this block completely down and pull the rods and stuff out. I don't know yet. Let me see if I can kneel down I mean, you know what? There's the oil pump. International always made a floating oil pump pickup, right? There's cork inside there, so the cork allows it to float. The reason it floats is if you get water in your oil, like you would in an agricultural situation, perhaps, like a tractor or something that sits outside its whole life, water always goes to the bottom and oil goes to the top. Oil floats on water. Yeah. So it's going to float and hopefully suck the oil and not the water. That was International's thinking. I don't know of another manufacturer that does that. Probably other tractor companies do. I don't know for sure. But I know International carried it over to their truck line for sure. Kind of neat, you know, the throttle linkage goes through the block. I'm not going to pull the core plugs because, like I said, I want to try the trick of putting acid or evaporust in the block. So I'm a little disappointed. I wanted to run this engine. It's only got 19,000 miles. I believe it's a 57 engine going into 55. That doesn't matter. So let me step back a few. My truck, the engine in it is a 220 cubic inch. They made a 240. That's what's in my other fire truck. This is a 264, and that's why it's got the valves on the angle there, right? The tilted valve head and the pop-up pistons. Okay, so this engine, the 220 was supposed to make 90 horsepower. I think this engine, which is the 264, is supposed to make 100 and it's either 134 or 154. I don't know, but quite a bit more. And it, you know, International, they use a lot of different displacements in their trucks. And the best I can kind of surmise, it's just customized for the load and maximum fuel economy that you're going to be, you know, experiencing. So this engine, my truck has a 3 on the tree, and this came with a T98. I guess T98 is Borg-Warner. 4-speed. So it's got I believe this is a grinding gear and then straight up fourth. Kind of neat. I got the shifter over there. Pardon the shadow. I got the jig bore here. I got the rocker arms laid out because it was just easy to set them over here. Fuel pump, push rods. Yeah, I need to get using the jig bore for awesome things, not as a shelf duty. Bigger valve cover, different gasket because the tilted valve head. I'm just been messing around. Got the pulleys off the water pump. Everything was rusted solid, so to torch everything, got the old cutting torches here. And I'm just kind of set up in the high bay, tearing into this International Harvester 264 tilted valve V8. Yeah, I'm going to clean this off and make a block off plate. And I guess level this thing off and fill it with acid or something, or evaporust. I'm almost thinking I should go with the acid and then the evaporust because this thing is so crusty inside. It spent its life in the South. From what I'm told, it was on like a heavy-duty 2-ton truck or something, and maybe even bigger. And it was a missile loader vehicle truck. Had a rotator boom on it. Back in the 50s, that was pretty awesome technology for towing vehicles, but it was set up not as towing per se, but it is for loading bombs on and off aircraft or whatever, or it could be ships. Then I was told that this truck was sold to a municipality here in North Carolina, and they locked the boom straight forward over the top of the cab and extended it to 22 foot. And they used it to pull well heads, well pumps in and out of well heads. And I guess they did it until they thought, the county thought that it was better off being contracted out or whatever. So that's the history on this. It's only got 19,000 miles. The clutch was devastatingly gone. It's got a power takeoff on the side of the engine, right? You can see it. Cable is in the way. There it is. You can kind of see the power takeoff. The side. So that's kind of neat. I won't use it in my pickup truck, the power takeoff. I could leave it on or block it off. I'll probably leave it on. But yeah, that's the history. I believe it as far as you know, the ridge ring from the top piston is very, I can't see there. I mean, it's nothing. I just feel a little bit of carbon above it. So the wear on this engine, I believe it to be a 20,000 mile engine. For real. So that's cool. Like I said, the bottom, everything was sludgy. The oil pan was sludgy. There's all kinds of there were some acorn nuts in some of the ports. A squirrel got in there or something. But I might tip the head upside down and pour the acid or evaporust in this too. But I'm thrilled that this is the tilted valve head and this has got the pop-up pistons. And like I say, it's probably 7.5 to 1 or something compared to 6 to 1. But hey, that's more good or more better, right? And now I got a 4-speed instead of a 3 on the tree. And that granny gear, you might think, well, what are you going to do with a half-ton pickup truck with a granny gear? I'm going to plan on putting a Ford Explorer rear end in there. A friend of mine's got a Ford Explorer rear end with 323 gears or something, and a posi, which is kind of neat. The exact same width, brake drum to brake drum, axle flange to flange. So if I get really, instead of 4 to 1 gears, if I go to 3 to 1 gears, I'll have a granny gear to start out with having the higher gearing. So that's going to work out. And I'm probably going to pull all the valves out and clean the head, check the seats, maybe lap the valves. I got a seat cutter, I think, because the exhausts are 30 degrees, I believe. But I think it has plastic rubber umbrella seals, and those are always, they never last too many years. So I can put new umbrella seals under all the under the retainers there. I got a little hook in there, an eye bolt hook. I know you can't see it. Now I'm shaking. I made just a quick little flat bar stock hanger for this side, and actually that bolts on to where the ignition coil is supposed to bolt on. Sorry, it's in the dark. The valve springs are much taller than the other engine. I think maybe this thing might even have a higher lift cam. I don't know. So if I was to fill this with acid, I'd have to make a dummy flange for the thermostat here, block that off, and then get a hose and block that off somehow. But I might acid etch or evaporust both of them. So that's what I've been working on, cleaning that oil pan, and put some diesel fuel in it with the sludge in there and lit it on fire. Burned for about an hour till all the sludge was burned up. But it's nice and clean now. I didn't put that on video because, you know, everybody's going to be hating on it. But whatever. Yeah, So I'm gonna keep working on this. I'm gonna pull off that oil filter canister. Oh, let me go outside. I'll show you something, the filter for it. It's even got a Napa part number. That's the thermostat housing. Yeah, that came out pretty good after lighting it on fire. About 99% of the sludge burned out of it, so that's cool. That clutch is not from this, it's from another project. Oh yeah, oil filter. See that, man? 1500 Napa. Alright, so now I know the part number for that. That's a little bit bigger than the oil filter in the truck now. I think this is made by Standard Corporation, and it's funny, the oil filter in the truck now is made by Deluxe Corporation, and the Deluxe filter is smaller than the Standard filter. Yeah, shows you what brand names are. Not worth much. But man, that clutch is just tacoed. I mean, that thing's just nuts. Worn to absolute freaking zero. But we'll see how the clutch is. That's in the truck right now. Might have to match this up. I mean, a clutch should be a clutch should be a clutch. Should be standard, you know, spline that matches up something. We'll figure it out. Anyways, well, maybe those valves are the same height. But yeah, this is really good. You can't tell because the head's crooked, but off the deck surface where the gasket flanges, they're straight up, and my new head is a tilted valve. Got my manifold from the other truck with the Holley carburetor still on it, and that's the manifold and stuff from the other truck. This is kind of cool. The exhaust pipe mounted on my pickup truck there, right to the bottom flange of the manifold, and you kind of see it. It's got this. It's the same manifold, but this 90-degree cast bend adapter was on there, right? Whereas my truck, the exhaust pipe has the bend, where this one, this manifold, is the same manifold, but has a bolt-on adapter for the bend, and then the straight pipe piece is on there, and I got all these bolts cut off with the torch. It's got a freaking awesome thick flange on it for attaching the pipe. So it's interesting to kind of think and reverse engineer what was in people's heads that designed this. When you put a cast bend on the manifold, I'm thinking that without it, if you just put the pipe up to it and you know, bent the pipe, that this is more robust, because, you know, fire comes out of this when this thing's running full throttle up a hill for, you know, multi-minutes at a time. And so the pipe doesn't melt from the fire coming out of this thing when it's pulling a load up a hill. They ended up maybe engineering a cast iron sweep, bend, whatever. And then the world's thickest, you know, pipe flange. And I think that's just socketed in there and flared. But, and 3 bolts like the Chevrolet design, not two bolts for a flange like some other companies. But, yeah. Heavy duty stuff, good old stuff, international made. But anyhow, I'm kind of just doing the grunt work and cleaning and seeing what I'm going to do here. If I'm going to acid etch that water jacket or not. Thought I'd give you a quick update from Doozer shop. Well, there she is. I've been cleaning on it all day. Got the piston dome scrubbed down, got all the carbon off. Making sure everything's good. Very minimal ring ridge at the top of the cylinders. Things in pretty good shape, but I'm tired and I'm going in the house